though. That's right. This is a fundraiser. If you have not figured it out yet, we are looking for the support of the community to change the way we are fueling our future, if all of you know what I mean. The oil reserves are being depleted. The wars are happening, and we need to put different things in our fuel systems. Diesels drive all over the country. They bring us this dress, these raffle tickets. Diesel is everywhere. We'll be bringing you some short films tonight. We've got a little teaser from Fields of Fuel. We've got French fries to go from our dear Charles Ford. We've got some performers. We've got some interesting performers out there with some blues songs coming to you live here at Cell Space in San Francisco. It takes a strong, courageous person to get into this movement because guess what? It's pretty well infrastructured out there. You know, you pull your car in, you pump up, you drive away. Maybe you got a cup of water along the way, a cup of coffee in a styrofoam cup, whatever. Very simple. But when it comes to driving your car on vegetable oil, there are a few people around the world that are trying to do this. Now, before I go into that, there's going to be some flickering and some interesting things that are going up on this wonderful screen, but there's going to be some amazing footage of people in the movement, the community of biodiesel around the world in this country, and a lot of those faces are actually here tonight. We've got some serious A-list people that are out there as leaders of this movement. If you've been in the biodiesel movement, you've probably gotten a little greasy. That's right. So I just want to thank you all for coming again. We've got raffle tickets to sell. This is a fundraiser for this amazing feature-length documentary that's going to happen around the country and around the world. So if you want to buy tickets, they're $5 and it's all going to fundraise. And there's packages worth over $100 value. There's the raw package, the Thanksgiving package, the soaker package, all kinds of packages with massages and acupuncture. So I'm about to reintroduce the man behind the Veggie Van organization. And what he's done in the past, the present, and the future is all been about the movement and how it's going to be going forward. So the work that's been done in the past, I don't know if you know about it, but you've probably read about it. The work that's being done right now is you being here, part of this movement. And the work that's being done in the future is all inside our brains and our hearts and our pocketbooks. So I want to reintroduce Joshua Tickell to tell you more about the Veggie Van organization and the journeys he's come from and going to.
Thanks. What I want to take this time to do is just introduce you a little bit to where we've been as an organization, where we are now, and where we're going. Obviously, the Veggie Van organization started off as me in a van with some friends and some grease. When I began this, we literally just wanted to see if it was possible. This is in late 1996. I had some friends and we said, well, what do you think about taking a trip across the United States on vegetable oil? Would that be possible? Would that be something that we could do? And the professors in our university said, absolutely not. That's crazy, it's ridiculous. It'll never happen. You can't do it. When I made the first bit of biodiesel fuel in the lab, it was kind of I'm going to say a spiritual experience for me, and that sounds a little tacky or hokey, but I'll tell you what it did for me. For me, it was the first time in my life. I come from Louisiana. I'm half Cajun. My mom's family is from the, yeah, at least one Cajun in the group. My mom's family grew up around oil refineries, and we sold our land to the oil industry. So I've watched a good number of my elders die of cancer that was created by these oil refineries. So for me to make that first test tube of biodiesel in the lab, that was a liberating experience. It said something very true and very simple to me, and that is, we do not need to rely on the structure that has been built around us for our energy. A lot of people take that for granted. Hey, man, we've got power. It comes from who knows where. We've got fuel. It comes from who knows where. But the power and the fuel that we use comes from somewhere. More than 50% of our fuel comes from the Middle East. More than 50% of our power comes from coal. So we rely very heavily on these non-renewable resources to keep the structure of our society intact. Without those non-renewable resources, we can't function as we can't have stage lights, we can't have PowerPoint projectors, we can't have cars. So when I began my first veggie van trip, when I poured that test tube of biodiesel into the van, there were a lot of people who said, you know, that's never going to work. But the veggie van did make it across the country. It made it to California. That was about 3,000 or 4,000 miles. It was supposed to be a one-month trip to see the Grand Canyon, to see Northern California, to see some things I'd always wanted to see, but it ended up being a 2-year trip, going 25,000 miles. And for me, that was proof positive that this could work. That was the first stage in my realization, just my individual personal realization. My God, biodiesel, I get it from a grease dumpster, I make it, I put it in my van, I drive. Where's the oil company in that equation? Phase 2 was interesting. I got home and I've got 1,000 emails in my inbox, all of them asking me the same question, all of them saying the same thing, and that is, how do we do this? How do we get involved? And there were emails that were very poignant. People from 3rd grade on up would say, if they knew oil was bad for the environment, how come they put it in our cars? 3rd graders writing to me saying this in 1997, 1998. And I'm thinking, God, you know, maybe it's not just about driving a van across the country on vegetable. Maybe there's something else going on here. Maybe people are really interested in energy independence, but they just don't have a way to connect with that information. And I looked, and even after the first 2 years of the trip, there was no information. There was no way to access it. There was no way to get into the biodiesel, so to speak, or the grease. And I said, everyone was, well, you're going to do tours. We'd gotten sponsors by that point. The veggie van had gotten very popular, driving it all around, doing interviews all the time. He said, well, what are you going to do? You're going to keep driving the van? I said, no, I'm going to write a book. He said, you're going to do what? You're a veggie van man. I said, no, I think I should write a book. I think that these people, the only way to really get this information out there is to write a book. And again, my family, my friends, my colleagues, they all went, you're nuts. So I spent a year writing the book, I spent a year editing the book, I put it together, I self-published it, it was a completely independent production. And I thought, okay, that's it, I've done my biodiesel thing, I'm going to go on and become a, economist or something. But that didn't stop. What started to happen at the end of that was I started getting more emails from other people in different parts of the world. I got emails from people like this guy named Tony Dreamer. Tony Dreamer lives on a small island in the South Pacific called Vanuatu. It's an island so small it takes you about 10 minutes to walk across it. He goes, I am Tony Dreamer, I'm writing from an island, I am very poor, please send me a book. So, there's some strange postal address. I put a book in an envelope and I sent it off to him. I said, well, best of luck to you, Tony. 6 months later, I get an email from the same guy who says, I have now run my biodiesel boats to another island where I can email you to tell you that I have converted 100% of the diesel on my island to biodiesel. Biodiesel is based on something that does not run out. What is the ultimate source of agricultural energy? The sun. The sun. Does the sun run out? No. Not yet. Not yet. Not for another 5 billion years. Let's keep going. Everyone in here know that Rudolf Diesel designed the diesel engine to run on vegetable oil over 100 years ago? He was a French-German son of some fairly peasant-type people, and his vision was farmers could have an engine that would allow them access to energy and work from their own land without using oil and coal and tar. So he designed the diesel engine to run on vegetable oil over 100 years ago. The vegetable oil is on top and the glycerin settles to the bottom. Ideally, right? If you do it right. The process is very simple. It takes an hour. It involves mixing an alcohol and a catalyst, as you saw in the film. This is the veggie van. The veggie van was seen by over 22 million Americans in 2 years. Over 22 million. Just to give you an idea of how much impact a granola crunching, tree hugging, flower painted van driving kid and his friends had. So I received these emails from people like, let's go back one. From people like Adrian Lake in Australia. He goes, G'day, name's Adrian.
I'd like to start a biodiesel